Hello, Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here, and welcome to the channel. And welcome to my childhood toy memories. Yes, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of my childhood toy memories, the series where I get to chat with you, members of the YouTube toy collecting community, about certain toys that you had as a kid that bring back those special memories. Joining us this week is Darren Robinson. Hello, sir. How are you?
Evening, everybody. Good to see you. How are
You all
you?
right? Yeah, well, I can only apologise for that. For those of you that don't know, this has taken me about 5 attempts to get this far. So, but yeah, thank you
Don't
for being
spoil the
patient.
magic. Come on, don't let
Oh, we
the
all know
magic
how it
behind.
works. We all know how it works. I'm not, crikey blimey. Like I say, thank you very much for doing this. It does mean a lot. So should we get straight into it then?
Yep, go for it.
So what do you want to do first? Do you want to go through the slides, or do you want to show
Yeah,
what
let's
you've got
let's
first?
get to the slides first. Yeah, that's
Okay, so this first slide. Wow, who remembers this?
cool.
That is wow. That is awesome. The grifter. Wow. So
Yes.
what's so special about this, Darren? What are the
So
memories?
this was my bike. I probably would have been. I'm going to say I was about 7 or 8 when I
Wow.
got this.
Yeah.
So I had there was a family of the bike. So the first bike I got was a Striker.
Oh
Then I
wow.
got
Okay. Yeah.
then I got the Boxer, and then the Grifter
Yep.
was the next one up.
Wow.
And we didn't get new bikes; these were sort of second hand. So it was
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
a friend of the family who I think he got a racing bike actually, and so I picked this up. And it was, I probably had it till I was about 12, 13 when I got a mountain bike because they were all the
Yeah.
rage and sort of in the 90s. But this for me is, I mean, it could be any bike. It's more the bike. The fact you had the bike,
Yeah.
and in that period of sort of early 80s, the freedom that we were given and associated. So this was, I mean, you see it in sort of, kids' TV shows of the time
Yeah.
and movies, but it was the ability to go out with your friends, go
Yeah.
miles from home.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
It would be, okay, you've got to come back when the street lights come on. Okay, all right,
Yeah.
thanks, Mum. Or the other one would be learning to tell the time because you got to watch as well,
Yeah.
and then you could come
Yeah.
back and check in every
Wow.
hour
Yeah.
or so. We used to go, 3-4 miles all over the shop, but it was, this was, it wasn't a BMX, and it was kind of a bit like one, but in its stylings, but it was pre BMX. There were
Yeah.
things, it had the mud guards on, and the things that we used to be able to tuck the mud guards down onto the tires because
Okay.
they had big chunky treads on the
Yeah.
tires. So
Yeah.
then when you went down hill really fast, the whole thing was, at the age of 8, we all thought we sounded like we were on motorbikes because it would make a whirring noise as it
Yeah.
went.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
brilliant.
and then the other thing would be we used to collect things to put on the on the spokes
Yeah. Yeah.
that you would
Yeah.
get. And back then it was even something as simple as the when you bought a loaf of bread in a plastic bag, it had that little plastic tag on it.
That's
So
it.
you
Yeah.
could take those off and put them on your spokes. And it was a case of see how many people could get.
Wow.
But it was, this was, the gateway to sort of being able to go out with your mates, go out for hours, just go and explore, do all sorts of things that you weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
We would be running across backs of people's gardens. We would go into sort of people who had sort of conker trees, and we'd be getting conkers in late
Yeah.
August, September, going down to the canal and doing all sorts of things that we really shouldn't be doing in the canal. We didn't go in the water. We were never that stupid, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
tied in with the old safety adverts of the 70s. It was sort of like the electric pylons and what have you. But
God. Yeah.
and I loved it. And also it had the 3 gear on the
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
my first bike that had gears on the old the handle there. But
Do you remember getting this bike, Darren? Or
yeah,
was this something? Was this like a surprise, or did you know that you were going to be
no,
getting
I think
this?
it would have been a surprise, but I knew where it came from. So my mum it was one of the women that she worked with. Her son was probably 3 or 4 years older than me,
Yeah.
and yeah, basically he was moving on, getting a new bike, so this was
Right.
available. So yeah, we were able to go and get this. But
Wow.
yeah, I loved it. It was such a awesome.
The good thing about this is, a lot of people like, have shown toys and rightfully so, but this is the first time I think anybody's like really spoken about a bike because you're right. It opened up lots of doors, didn't it? It gave you that sort of
Yeah,
like kind of independence, didn't it?
yeah,
It was like I remember I used to cycle my bike up to my friend's house, so save my mum and dad driving me up there. I used to cycle up there, and I can remember also where we lived, they were building a new housing estate, and I had a kind of like it was kind of like a BMX, but I think it was a cross between a BMX and a mountain bike because mountain bikes were the next thing that were coming out. So it
mm,
had the big, thick, sort of like chunky tires, and we were driving around, the building site and stuff like that, where they're putting up this new housing estate, and we're doing jumps and stuff like that,
yeah,
and just and like you say, it was that kind of like freedom, wasn't it, to go out and
yeah,
just explore different parts of the neighborhood or different
yeah,
areas that you wouldn't normally go and do with
yeah.
your mates and
And
stuff like that on the bikes and
how did
stuff.
you how did you find each other? You would go round all your mates' houses, and you go to the house where all the bikes were, and
Yeah,
that's where you knew. That's how you found everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, no social media, none of that. It was like, right, well, I'm just going to go around a couple of the houses in the neighbourhood,
such a
look for
simple
all the
time,
bikes
Darren, such a
being.
simple time. Yeah,
Yes, and that's how
it
you
is,
knew where
it is,
everyone
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you wouldn't catch me on a bike now, if I'm honest. You would not catch me on a bike now. Sod that.
no, I cycled for a long time. I mean, yeah, but yeah, into my early 20s. But yeah, God no, not now, not with.
But the thing
It's
is,
just far
Darren,
too
we
dangerous
were
on the road. There's too
cycling
many
around on the
cars.
roads back then, weren't we? We were cycling around on the roads with no, like, you didn't have the safety helmets then, did you? Or the
Oh,
crash helmets or whatever it was. You didn't wear protective gear and stuff like that. You'd fall off your bike, you graze your knee, you graze your elbow, you get back on it again, and you go
yeah,
around and until you fell off again. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
you still had to be careful because, getting hit by cars and stuff like that. So obviously, you weren't going to be stupid, but man, that is awesome.
yeah. We lived
That
on a
is,
really big hill.
yeah,
So we would sort of, you would cycle up to the top and then race down. But bear in mind, you got parked cars. I mean, it wasn't a through road or a
yeah,
busy road, but it was still, cars come. But yeah, we would hack it down. We would go over to the park. We'd go to the wreck. Um, yeah, there would be a lot of sort of industrial waste land
yeah,
areas that you could go to. That you just get up to. You would just be. I won't say boys because it wasn't. We were. It wasn't just a gang of boys. There'd be
yeah,
girls with us as well. But it was. You would just sort of do. Go and smash stuff up,
yeah,
build
yeah.
jumps.
Not promoting
Um,
that, by the way. This is just Darren speaking.
yeah,
I don't,
yeah. Your home is at risk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Take
yeah.
safety
But it's
precautions,
like you,
obviously.
you cycle down the road like no hands and just cycle with the
Yeah.
hands on the
Oh, yeah, that's
handlebars
right.
and
Yeah,
just
how far
do
can you
wheelies,
learn? Yeah, pull wheelies, which was
wheelies.
really
Do who's
difficult on
got
that
the
bike because
biggest
it was
skin,
bloody
all that
heavy.
sort of stuff. Oh yeah, great fun. Wow.
Yeah. And I remember,
Yeah.
people, you'd always laugh at the people that had a chopper or a budgie because they had to pedal a lot faster because the
Yeah,
wheels were
what
so much
choppers
smaller.
they were quite, popular back in those days, weren't they? The choppers.
Mhm.
Those, I didn't mind. That kind of like
Yeah,
reminded me of like the Harley Davidson of the
that's right.
little push bikes. I'm like that,
Yeah.
weren't you? Sort of thing. Yeah,
Apart
they
from
were
when the chain
cool
would
though.
slip and you do your knackers on the crossbar.
Yeah. Which was the one that didn't have brakes? You had to pedal backwards to brake. Which
Oh,
which bike
God.
was that?
Don't
Do
know.
you remember that?
No. Pedal backwards, you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure there was a bike that you would cycle, obviously, and then
Yeah.
what you'd do, you'd sort of like cycle backwards, and it would sort of put the brakes on. I can't remember which one that was. I might have been
Um,
making it up. I don't know, but I'm
you could get
sure it was
bikes.
something
They
like
used to
that.
have bikes that would a bit like spin bikes these days. Obviously, the spin bikes don't freewheel, so
Right.
if you stop pedaling, obviously it will keep going.
Yeah.
And obviously, modern bikes were all about they didn't freewheel. They would freewheel with the gears or with the
Yeah.
chain, but bikes that didn't do that. Yeah, if you tried to stop pedaling, you'd end up with your knees up through your teeth, kind of.
Oh Jesus! Wow. Yeah. Wow. I mean,
But
I remember, coming
summers
off a
riding,
bike.
cruising around.
Huh?
Summers cruising around on your bikes with your
Yeah.
gat. the
Yeah.
lads.
I kind of miss it, but I wouldn't. I like I say, I wouldn't. You wouldn't catch me on a bike anymore.
No, but it's one of those things that as a as a parent looking at, my kids didn't do it, don't do it, didn't do this. It was just, the world became a bigger and smaller place at the same time. So it's kind of like the
Yeah,
idea that you would let your kids out now and go 3 or 4 miles out at the age of, I mean, I would have been 7 and 8 when I was doing this.
wow.
Um,
Yeah,
there's no way you would do that now.
no.
But yeah, different times.
Well, to be honest with you, I can't see a kid cycling that far anyway. To be honest with you, these days,
Yeah,
you
there was
know what I
like
mean?
what you can't unplug from my phone and my Xbox. God no.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Okay. So moving on, we've these. Wow, how every kid had these, didn't they?
I wasn't. Do you know
Right.
what? Because I've been thinking about what I had, and sort of certain memories, and I don't have these anymore. But I
Yeah,
was sort of remembering things that I used to have, and it was kind of, oh, do you know what? I had toy soldiers, and it were a mix. It would have been Allied, it would have been German, it would have been Japanese, Army,
yeah,
World War II figures, and they were just slightly tiny, like this, tiny little plastic. They were all kind of the same molds,
yeah.
but with it, I had two cannons, effectively. One like that. One was a machine gun nest, and one was just
Right.
like that with
Yeah,
and it's a pulley. It's like a spring-loaded pulley system. You just cock it, put the
yeah,
rockets in, and then fire it.
yeah.
So
Wow.
me and my mate Michael Whitaker, that was my best friend when I was young. We, or with my sister when we were doing, or even if I was playing on my own, I'd set them the two
Yeah,
sides up, and then we'd each take it in turns to fire at each other, at knocking down each other's army men. Really
yeah,
simple game. I mean, you could argue it was a precursor to the old. It's a bit like the North and South on the Amiga, where you'd send your troops in across the bridge.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but it was just hours of fun, and I completely forgotten about this. And then when I
Were
was sort
these
of thinking
really
about
small
it,
ones, Darren? Because you had
yeah, they
certain
would
sizes.
only have been sort of like an inch.
Yeah, and it's because you had ones that were smaller than that as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
remember
yeah.
those?
So these, yeah, they would have been about an inch, inch and a half
Yeah,
tall.
yeah, yeah.
Green, grey, beige, big. I mean, they weren't cheap. Sorry, they weren't expensive. They were
I
cheap
mean, I'm sorry
toys.
I can't get that any bigger, but
Yeah, the resolution wasn't brilliant on that one.
that's all
Um,
right.
but yeah, that's the sort of thing you buy. You just buy sort of a bag of them,
Yeah.
and then you'd set them out, and it was just hours of fun. I remember playing that for years. We would play. I would do that.
Well,
And
this is the
same,
kind of thing that you could play out in the garden, isn't it? You could,
yeah,
big trenches and stuff like that, and then
yeah,
whatever. And then because I remember what I had these as a kid as well, and we had like a not a wasteland, but it was a part of the garden back in the day that hadn't been all sort of like done up yet, and it was still under development. So we'd build trenches. Me and my neighbour would stick our soldiers in, and we'd get like mud bombs and stuff like that, and just throw mud bombs from a distance and try and blow each other's bases up and sort of stuff. So, oh yeah, it's just wow.
a lot at that time. I mean, I know it's still, it's early 80s, mid 80s, but a lot of gardens still had air raid shelters.
Oh wow.
Mine, when I moved down here in 80, so when I moved down, when I say moved down here, so I moved from Derbyshire down to Surrey.
Yeah.
Um, the garden or the house we moved to in Reigate, that still had an air raid shelter.
Wow.
It just hadn't been, we obviously we got rid of it, but I remember friends of mine in their gardens, they still had air raid shelters.
Wow.
Weirdly, I mean, they were just still there. They just hadn't been gotten rid of.
Yeah.
Still, because it's only, what is it, in 1980, what's that, 35 years, something, 35
Yeah.
years. That's the same as looking back at 1990 now. So it's not, it
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
a long time
Jesus
ago then,
Christ.
but
Yeah.
it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah, but you're absolutely right. Parts of gardens that were either allotments or,
yeah.
disused and sort of left overgrown.
But I mean, these were they weren't expensive, were they either? They were
Not
you
at
could
all.
pick them up. You could pick them up anywhere, couldn't you, as well?
Yeah. Yeah, your
A lot of
news
places
agents, your shops,
obviously.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. They are so cool. They are so cool.
But yeah, it's just the rocket firing stuff was amazing.
I mean, health and safety now, you probably wouldn't be allowed to
No,
do
that's
that
right.
these days, would you?
Yes.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, you take your eye out with
Open
it.
hazard. So what is the story behind this one, Darren?
So the next few slides, I was thinking of my sort of Matchbox and Corgi cars. And again, this
Okay.
would have been something that right from an early age, it would have been at the end of the week, Mum would take us to the toy shop, and you go,
Yeah,
right, okay, you can have a. There would be two choices. It would either be a car,
yeah,
or it would be a Britain's figure. So things like the farm animals or the zoo animals that you
yeah.
could
Because
get
who
when
was it?
Des was showing here what he had the
Des
farm
had
stuff.
those, didn't he? Yeah, of course he did. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. So
Wow.
there was a shop that we would go to, and it would be sort of picking that. And then so I had loads of them, and you go around things like Sandown Park, and I see a lot of the Matchbox. And I love the fact that they were. I don't, you forget that they were in the cardboard boxes, and you
Yeah,
sort of see the artwork on the sort of the Super 70s Matchbox figures. But
yeah,
then I remember there was this whole line of um, either well, actually you had movie tie-in ones
yeah,
or Marvel and DC, which were all corgi.
yeah,
Um, and then I started looking at the picture. I was thinking, "Oh my god, I had that, I had that, I had that, I had that." And again, so it started bringing it all back. So I was sort of put a few in here that were sort of again, these are all that were sort of an age when I got them that they were absolutely destroyed.
yeah.
Um, my mum did keep them, so they've been through me, my brother, who was born, so he's 15 years younger than me. So he was born in the 1990. So he then
Yeah.
had my Matchbox and Corgi collection. Um,
Wow.
and then my nephew, who is now
Yeah.
7, has also been able to play with them. So it's kind of gone through the family. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So I've got the Captain
So with
America
these, I mean,
car.
did you favour the superheroes one? Because that's Captain America. You've got the Spider-Man Corgi helicopter. I mean, that's a weird looking
This
thing, isn't it? I mean, gosh,
this
look at
was
that.
my. These are sort of things that I completely forgotten about, and then sort of
Wow.
going around places like Sandown, like you have this sort of
Yeah.
blast. You know, oh my god, I can put. I destroyed that. Was one of my favourite toys. There was a button at the back that you could press, and the tongue would fire out from the front.
Oh, wow.
Um, but I broke one of the sides of the legs off.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I broke the top off. And yeah, at that point, it was so bashed, but it was well loved and
Yeah.
well played with.
When you
But
see
again,
something like this, when you go to like Sandown or NEC, and you see it, are you kind of like tempted to get it again, or are you quite happy that you've had it and you're quite happy to leave it be?
I I've bought a couple of bits,
Yeah.
but it's not something. It's one of those sort of things I'm quite happy to look at and remember, and then walk away before I go. Do not start collecting anything else, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Quickly
Yeah.
walk away.
Yeah, because I mean, I've never, I've never, I didn't see that. I never saw that as a kid, but I mean, it looks pretty cool. And then you've got the Spider-Man van
And they
here.
had loads of these vans. So this
Yeah,
van, you could, and again, this is why we sort of, as kids, precursor to the 18 van, but
yeah,
we all loved the American vans and the
yeah.
minivans as kids because we had them as cars. So you had Spider Man. They did a Superman one. They did a Charlie's
Okay.
Angels. The Charlie's Angels one is pink.
Yeah,
Um, they did, and you could either have them in sort of the Matchbox size or the slightly. They did them in the two scales.
okay.
Um, and they had one of these at Reigate Toy Fair yesterday, and I nearly got it, but I didn't.
Oh,
Just loose. I mean, I don't
yeah.
remember the card backs at all. I only ever remember them being, I remember playing them with as loose figures.
And for those of you watching, this is being pre-recorded on the Monday, and it will be up on the Friday. So there you are. So there you go. Because of Sandown, not Sandown,
Oh
Reigate Toy
yeah,
Fair.
Reigate, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. No, no worries, no worries. Oh, so that's pretty cool. What else we got? Oh, yeah, Batman and yeah, Batman
yeah. And
Corgi.
I definitely had the helicopter.
Yeah,
I had the motorbike. I think I lost Batman very early on. I just remember the motorbike. But yeah, I
yeah,
had again in the helicopter. You would fold the rotor blades out, and then you would
yeah,
stick them down because they'd have a, a hole and a spike to be able to male and female to be able to connect them. But again, they were just sort of like, oh my god, I had all these things and I'd completely forgotten about them.
yeah, yeah. It's mad, isn't it? I mean, what goes through your mind when you see things like this? It's like obviously instantly brings back that nostalgia feeling. I'm assuming.
Yeah, it just takes me right back to sort
Yeah,
of being, toys. It was a very, I suppose for me, and obviously, look as people who are in the community, the toy collectors, it still is now 40, 50 years later that
Yeah.
something captured part of our hearts, part of our imagination, and it was, and it's always been part of something that sort of we enjoy and love. And even if it's just a case of going back and being able to see them and think, oh my God, I've completely forgotten. But then you associate the memories of when you played with them, how that made
Yeah.
you feel. There's a yeah, just whether it be you're playing on your own, but it was a sort of a safe time. It was just
Mm.
pure innocence, no work cares in the world, just running around the garden with your corgi toys or your
Yeah.
Matchbox toys, burying them, destroying them, putting them in dirt, getting them covered, playing, putting them in the bath, let them rust up.
Yeah.
Um,
Crikey. Yeah. Wow.
Always ended up snapping off wheels and all sorts. So yeah, no,
When
it's
it comes to going back and getting toys that you had from the past, I mean, I'm guessing it depends on what sort of like toy line it was. So, like for something like this, if you saw this, you wouldn't be that inclined to get it. Whereas if it was something like Star Wars or whatever else, like action figure wise,
yeah. I
you'd
suppose
end up getting those.
I kept quite lucky in the fact that I kept a lot of what I got as a
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
So uh, I've not had to, and I've predominantly, I've always, I suppose I'm more of a new toy collector, but in certain lines. So it would be,
Yeah.
so let's say Star Wars or it's Transformers or it's Motu.
Yeah.
Um, so that it tends to be along, or other things. Sometimes I will go, so I tend to buy new representations of the toys I had because I've still got them. But
Yeah.
I have bought new vintage bits and pieces. I certainly have bought Star Wars is probably the most that I buy vintage of, and that's either because there was a lot that I didn't have,
Yeah.
so it's going back and sort of completing, if you like, the collection as much as you can,
Yeah.
or somewhere what I've got is very knackered, and you sort of wanting to sort of buy and upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you ever have the Corgi Batmobile?
Yes, but only the little one, never the big one.
Did the little
So
one?
again,
Yeah.
all mine, and then but you could get obviously the largest, but it's a
Yeah.
66 one, the sort of the
That's it.
Batman,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. Now,
And then I've got
when I saw this, I was just like, oh, God, I remember the days. Talk us through this, Darren.
so this, and again the next couple of slides is, and I've got a couple of paper ones as well.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Cool, cool.
they are we refer to it is it's the Book of Dreams, and
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be if it was the UK, it would have been it's the Argos catalogue.
Yeah.
Um, and if you're Americans, it's going to be the Sears catalog or
That's
Marshall
it. Yeah.
Ward, or some of the other big stores that would have done them at the time. But it was the only way. This is our insight into, well, what toys are coming.
Yeah.
What new stuff could we get? There
Yeah.
was. There is no. The internet's still 15 years away at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there is no, so the only set time you ever knew was when toy catalogs. And obviously, Argos had two editions, so you'd
Yeah.
get the one that would come out in April, which was
Yeah.
tends to be a bit naff because it didn't really have a huge amount in it. But then
Yeah.
September, and it was always the what. September was the one you're
Build
waiting
up for
for.
Christmas and stuff. Yeah.
And then it's coming down. I'd be like, Mum, can we go to Argos to get the catalogue? Can we go and get the catalogue? Can we go and get the catalogue? To see, oh my God, what is there that's out there? And I think I've got a couple of videos. I think it was a Toy Masters one, but generally toy catalogs and
Oh,
the
yeah.
what it would mean in terms of, right, not only this is this is the wish list, this is the ultimate want list. And then you'd be going into school and going, have you seen this? So what's on your Christmas list? What do you want? Um, big things on here, obviously, the AT-AT, the Millennium Falcon,
Yeah.
Grayskull,
Yeah.
I think I've got one with the Transformers on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just
There's
sort of being
a lot
able to
on.
go in and
I
see.
mean, wow, look at this.
Yeah. Don't look at the prices, obviously, because it's outrageous what the prices used to
Don't,
be.
don't, don't, because that would make me cry. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
crikey, you imagine prices like that these days,
yeah.
unheard of.
I mean,
But
I know it makes me. Do you know what? I really appreciate my mum. My mum and dad had split up, but
yeah,
they were both. We lived with mum, but dad was still around. Um, but it was, you know, neither of them earned a huge amount of money back then, and I know how much they would have had to have given up to be able to buy what I had. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
on that page, I had the AT-AT, the Falcon, Slave
yep,
One,
yep,
the Scout Walker, the Rebel Transporter, and the
yeah.
X-Wing. It's like, where the
Wow.
hell did they get the money to be able to do that for? I mean, talk about a sport little shit that I must have been. But
Yeah,
yeah,
well, no, fair
it's,
play, but,
it's kind of like it's like wow, they would have, but it was everything. We didn't have anything else. It wasn't like we were, we're not streaming anything. We're not paying for subscriptions. I had,
no,
I
that's
wasn't,
it, yeah,
you weren't, music was you listened to the radio.
yeah,
And you do your old cassette in on a Sunday to press play and record to
yeah,
record the top 40.
yeah,
Obviously,
God, yeah.
pirating is illegal and not to be endorsed in any shape or form.
But you know what I like about this? The way they set stuff up in the catalogs. I mean,
Yeah,
just the guys who were setting this up must have had ages and hours of fun just
yeah,
taking photographs and that would have been what an ideal job that would have been. But I remember going round to my nan's at Christmas time and looking through the magazines like this Argos and stuff like that. I think there was a K's catalogue as well, which was like another thing that my nan sort of like was into, and or Littlewoods as well. There was Littlewoods,
yeah. You had
and
the the catalogs you could pay on instalment.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. But oh, I just loved looking at the pictures, and there was so much to look at. I mean, you've got some maskers. I mean, look at this. I
Yeah,
mean, Michael was on last week, and he had a lot of mask and stuff like that. And just look at that. I mean, the way they
correct.
set it up, that's
I mean,
appealing to a
it
child
just. I mean, no
seeing
wonder
that.
we wanted it. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
asking. Boy, yeah. Kids, boys, 7 to 12 are just looking at it, going, "Yep, sign me up. I'll have the whole
yeah,
lot,
yeah.
please."
I mean, was you big into masks, or was this not really?
I had for me, obviously there were toys that I had, when I was little, and then I suppose the big collections, if you like, would have been Star Wars primarily.
Yeah,
Um, then uh, Transformers is so I stopped collecting or focusing on Star Wars, and it was kind of right at the same time because 84 Jedi's been and gone. The toy line is starting to wind down from a Star Wars perspective. Transformers came along and just blew my mind,
yeah.
um, and then would have had um,
Star Wars.
Master of the Universe as some figures. I had sort of a handful, not a huge amount,
Yeah.
and then would have been 85, no, 86 that I got my first mask. In fact, actually, the first one would have been
Wow.
uh, this chap here, Condor. So that
Oh,
would have been
yeah.
that's my first.
Condor.
Um, yeah, and which is great. Yeah, it's such a simple little,
It
transformation
is.
straight into a bike. Gosh, there you go.
Yeah.
But
But I
I
mean,
just
how
love
colourful is it? I mean, how colourful is it?
yeah.
It pops,
I
doesn't
mean,
it? It pops.
yeah, and I think I mentioned one of the other things. It was the toys that they did at that time were all colours
Yeah.
that would just go,
Yeah.
you know, grab your attention, and it was kind of, whether that they just sort of suckered you into wanting to have,
Yeah.
it would be getting your attention. And I loved them. I had, I had a few of them. Stuff. I didn't have Switchblade or Rhino.
Yeah.
Um, now I might get them when when they, obviously the new ones that are coming.
Yeah.
Um, from a point of view of sort of something that I would want that I didn't have as a kid, but yeah, and again, I had friends that would have this. I would just, again, be out in the garden, playing in the dirt and the grass and the tree and
Yeah.
stuff and hedges with these guys. Yeah, just great fun.
I mean, you had Motu as well, which was a very colourful line, Mask,
Mm.
and we just moved forward again to Star Wars. I mean, it wasn't the most colourful of lines, was it? It didn't really
No, it's very
pop, but
gunmetal. He
because
kind of, yeah, yeah.
you didn't need it to, did you? You knew what it was.
Nope. No, I guess it was sort of the, yeah. I mean,
What's he getting?
here's this is my original.
Wow. Oh,
I have
wow.
got a chin gun. I think I've got two somewhere, but they tend to sort of
Yeah.
come off and get lost. But yeah, and
So cool.
the handle on the inside so you can move
Look at
the
that.
head and everything. I mean, that was just. I mean, talk about being as a kid having a toy like that. You know, I mean, obviously this one. Each of my top two Star Wars one is this and the Falcon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I think we see people mention it. We mentioned before. Yes, they're vehicles, but they are play sets. Those
Yeah.
bigger ones. So the
Yeah.
AT-AT and the
Yeah.
Falcon were much more
Yeah.
about being a play set as
Yeah.
much as anything else. You'd see the advert again. Actually, the whole thing around sort of the advertising is you'd see the adverts on TV. So
Yeah.
you would have the Transformers adverts on TV. You'd have the Mask advert. You'd have the He-Man adverts. Because you'd be watching the cartoons. It was all cleverly done from a marketing perspective. Once you'd seen Star Wars come along, and then the other lines sort of conned into this whole sort of, hold on a minute, we can make toys
Well,
out
they
of.
did. They tapped into that, didn't they? I mean, a lot
Yeah,
of the toy companies did. You had the TV
yes,
series, your
yeah,
animated series, and stuff like that. I mean, Star Wars. You had the movies and so, but I mean, they knew how to sort of like sell things to you, didn't they? Let's
yeah,
just move that. They knew how to promote things and make you. I mean, you just got to walk into the toy stores back in the day, and they would like from floor to ceiling just of toys, the different color boxes and the artwork and all that sort of stuff. And it
hmm,
was they wanted kids to buy that sort of stuff. And oh man, it was just awesome, absolutely awesome.
yeah. I mean, and actually, you saying about the artwork, about obviously, Star Wars being sort of, yeah, okay, it was a bit sort of, yeah, obviously they're metallic and things, but I've got two vintage.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying about sort of buying vintage, but just as examples of. So so this is
Oh,
the first
look at this. Yeah.
vintage piece that I bought as an adult. I got this at
Wow.
Echo probably about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I hadn't really bought any things that were sort. But again, it's the design.
Yeah.
It's the logo, it's the racetrack, it's the picture, it's the okay. We're going
Yeah.
to put a couple of pictures on the top here about what you can do with it, what it does,
Yeah.
and you would just go into the shop, and you were just conditioned to recognise this.
The logo. Yeah. The
Yeah,
font. Yeah.
kids couldn't even read yet, but they would know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
Be in the shops and go, "That's what
Yeah.
I want." And then the other one I've got
Wow.
is, as an example, is this guy.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, that is
Yeah.
superb.
So I
Wow.
didn't. Again, this is so I picked up for Echo. I'm quite happy. I don't mind that it's a bit of a beta box.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been with Shabby before, and it's sort of like a bit of character. It's had a life.
Yeah. Yeah,
But again,
absolutely.
it was the sort of the effort they would go to sort of display it on the sides of the
Yeah.
boxes and stuff. And
Yeah.
and there are people. I don't know if certainly in the UK. It's lucky, actually. It's good that it's got these on because we collected these to be able to do the
Yeah.
mail away.
That's it. Yeah.
Cut all those Boba Fett helmets out to be able to send away. But it's the art of
Yeah.
the display and the photography and the effort and everything that they went
Yeah.
to be able to do these. And I
Yeah.
mean, I hadn't even appreciated that apparently our version of an X-wing is white, but the American
Yeah.
version was a kind of a grey. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, because we had because ours was Palatoy
Yeah.
and the American version was actually Kenner themselves, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So
it's only in
yeah.
sort of later life, and
Yeah.
being able to go to sort of something like Echo and see. I thought I knew all the Star Wars toys that have been released, and you go there, and I'm like, I didn't know they did that. I had no idea until I went to Echo. I'm pretty certain I had no idea they'd made a dewback in the 70s. I thought the first
Yeah.
dewback was Power of the Force. I had no idea. I was like blown away.
Yeah.
It's like the Tauntaun. You stick the figure in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean,
have
it's so
no.
simple though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
And the the harness and the seat that you know look like they're sitting in, they had the legs sculpted into it, didn't it, to look like they're actually sitting down.
Yeah.
But I mean, but back as a kid, did the packaging, the card backs, and the boxes mean anything to you back then, or were you just happy to take the figures and the play sets and the toys out the packaging and just get rid of it?
So I kept the boxes. I
Yeah,
think I probably would have kept for a while. If nothing else, is just to store bits in. So it's kind of like, I'll just shovel my figures in there, and so I could carry them around. But then over time, yeah, they just would have got beaten and binned. There was no appreciation that this might be worth something in later life. I
yeah.
hate. There's nothing that makes you more jealous of somebody on YouTube that goes, "Oh yeah, I went into my mum's loft or my grandma's loft and I found 12, the original 12, just in a box because she bought the spare one in case I ever lost them." It's like, oh my god, my
Oh,
parents.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
god, yeah. Oh yeah, no, they're just worth a fortune. So yeah, nothing ever like that. But I did keep a lot of my card backs. I wouldn't have been particular. I would have just tear them
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
take
yeah,
blisters off. But again, we would cut out the name pills
yeah,
because it was So for example, I'm pretty certain I would have got Dengar, definitely Palpatine, and I think probably Akbar, all through cutting out the names and then sellotaping on a bit of paper, putting it in a self-addressed envelope to
yeah, yeah.
Palatoy, which was apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but was about 30 miles down the road from where I lived.
Oh,
And then you would wait a month for hoping that little box would get
yeah,
posted through your letterbox, and it was like that was
yeah,
the best day in the world ever when they came back. But yeah, it meant that you defaced the cards,
yeah,
and and I do remember that I've got probably about 15 or so in various states of names removed, and
yeah.
then some of them I cut out. My sister got a badge maker where it would just be a plastic, punch them down into a sort of like a plastic holder.
Yeah.
But I went around cutting all the faces out of my card backs to make badges out of them. So I
Oh,
destroyed half of them. So
oh
I
dear.
would have had loads of these.
So,
Um,
so I was going to say, talking to the mailaways, I know when I had Scuba on, he said back in, in the day in the States, the mailaways were like a big thing,
hmm.
for the guys in the kids in the States and stuff like that. And now I remember them over here, but I mean, were they a big thing over here as well? I can't sort of like recall whether they were like a big thing over here as
They were
they
for
were.
me.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, uh, um, um, Actually, I just think about it. The Rancor Keeper was a mail away as well.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
I don't know whether. So I don't know in the UK whether if the Rancor Keeper was ever. Well, I assume it was, but whether it was ever released on a cardback or not. Um, it's a bit like with Emperor Palpatine, when they did the re-release, obviously, or not
Yeah.
re-release, but when they did the TVC version, I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know what the cardback looked like because in my collection, he came in he was a mail away, and then you could mail away for some of the rigs as well, so and things
Oh,
like that,
okay.
or
Yeah.
extra blaster packs and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, I probably would have done probably certainly at least 4 or 5 mailaways that I would have done at the time, through that whole
Yeah.
period.
I don't think I did any mailaways, to be honest with you. I don't think I did. No, I didn't get any of those figures come through, and I don't know why. I
Mm,
don't know. It's really weird, weird.
yeah.
I mean, I did do a mail away with sort of like Action Force, and I became an SAS member type sort of thing where you join a club and you get like these packs
Mm.
come through every month and stuff like that, and that was about it. But as far as figures are concerned, no, no. And I just want to go back to an earlier point when I said about you go around these toy fairs and you see certain items or toys that you had as a kid, but you don't feel inclined to get them. What and you said there were certain Star Wars figures that you would or toys. Why is it so then with Star Wars above the rest of the toys that you had as a kid?
I guess it is. It's the one line that I made sure that I've kept everything of, and it's been
So
the
everything
one.
that you've got from your Star Wars is from your original.
Yeah, I never lost any of it.
Oh,
So yeah, I kept all of it, and then I've added to it obviously through time.
yeah,
Um, but it was the one. and it's the thing not only as a child, but it's then as an adult I kept buying. So in the 90s, when Power of the Force 2, effectively, even though technically we didn't have Power of the Force the first time round because we didn't have those card backs in the UK.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Power of the Force 2, so 1995, where they all came out, the muscle bound on the orange card backs. And I started again, and it was my sister bought me, and I didn't really even know that they were out again, but my sister for Christmas bought me Han Solo. And bearing in mind at this point, I am 20, 19 or 20. And I get this Star Wars figure for Christmas, and it just takes me back. And that whole Christmas, it's very sad. He was in my pocket the whole time. I kept him, I took him everywhere because it
Wow.
was just like, oh my God, this is, and it kind of reignited. And I've said before that I was very fortunate in that my dad moved to the States for about 4 years, from
Yeah.
about 94 through to about 97, 98, right at the time when Star Wars came back.
Yeah.
So I was in America going to Toys R Us
Wow.
and seeing the huge displays of figures, which we don't, they've got long gone,
Yeah.
unfortunately. You just
Yeah.
don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you go to somewhere like, Echo and the toy fairs. So that's where you
Yeah.
get that sort of buzz back.
Mm.
I've been collecting. So I was collecting the Power of the Force stuff. I collected a lot of the Micro Machines heads that you
Oh,
could
yeah.
get,
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
like with the playset heads and things,
Yeah.
through the 90s. Obviously, the vehicles in the Power of the Force re-release were the original molds. So I was
Yeah.
able to pick up some stuff that I never had. But I still don't have an Imperial shuttle, and probably won't do at the prices that they are because they're so expensive. I don't have a B-wing. That's kind of on my list of
Oh, wow.
things that I wanted to get.
Yeah. I don't have an A-wing.
Yeah, I've got one unlocked, but
Yeah.
it's not the droids version. It's
Yeah.
the obviously it's that
Yeah.
shape.
It's that mold. Same mold. Yeah.
Yeah, because after you'd said that you were looking for one, I was like, actually, do you know what? I was interested to know how often, what molds have they done for it, and I think they've done the droids one. It looks like it goes through right through Power of Force into Saga Collection, and then I think they
Yeah.
did the new one for the
Yeah, it's a smaller mold, isn't it?
Resistance, the smaller one, yeah, for
Yeah.
the Rebels and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
cartoon one. Yeah,
Just
so
going
it
back
was
to
just able to pick
sorry,
them up.
just going back to, when you said you went to the States and you went to Toys R Us. I mean, how much of a different experience is that going to like a toy store over there to the Toys R Us over here? Is there much of a difference or not really?
I loved it. It was, I mean, we did have. So I was at university in Coventry, and we had a Toys R Us in Coventry, but you just didn't have the same range here.
Yeah.
It was still of a time when everything, the market was very much US based, and
Yeah.
what they would ship to Europe just wasn't the same. They just wouldn't release the same amount of figures. Yeah, you get the core of the stuff, but you wouldn't get everything. And I remember there used to be a magazine called Area 51, and it was a bit of a toy collecting magazine. It didn't run for a couple of years, but they
Yeah.
would talk about what you could get in the States and what you could get here. And I remember them announcing that Toys R Us had done a deal to sell everything that they were selling in the States in the UK. And
Okay.
at that time, that would have, so the figures that we couldn't get at the time that they then brought across. So this is
Yeah.
still the green card back Power of the Force, and it would have been the two figures at the top that sort of stick out would have been the AT-AT driver
Right.
and Pote Snowkin from the
Oh,
Jabba's
yeah, yeah.
Barge.
Yeah.
So they were
Yeah.
two at the time that you could only get in the States, and they bought that right. It was really expensive. They were. I mean, really expensive. I think they probably would have been about £10
Yeah.
compared to how much they were in the States. But and they brought the AT-AT across. Then they started to bring things like the Action Collection. So Han Solo, the 12-inch Han Solo on the
Yeah.
Tauntaun, and the Wampa with Luke.
Wow.
I don't know why I'm doing that. I haven't. Why am I doing that? I haven't even got it.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, it was this big.
Oh,
Um,
well, there you are.
uh, and it was so it was, yeah. If you like, a second golden age of being able to collect. And I
Yeah.
didn't have money, but I had money to be able to go and buy the odd bits. Sarah and I were just sort of starting our, getting our first place, and having next to nothing money, but he's still been able to collect the odd bit. Um, so it was kind of that was still the driving force of my collecting, and
Yeah.
it's only really in the last 10 years that I've probably branched out and started buying Transformers. I've always had the odd
Okay.
new one,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
went mental on lockdown with the Masterpiece
Oh,
scales,
okay. Yeah.
and sort of buying all those guys. And then with the Masters of the Universe, it's been the Masterverse collection that they
Yeah.
brought
Some
out
of the
over the last few
Master
years.
stuff is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, the when I was at
With,
Reigate, the pickup I got the other day was Snout Spout,
oh,
which
okay.
I do not remember that as a child. I'm
Yeah.
sure it did exist, but it's a really cool, nice figure as a modern.
Yeah. I remember the
Um,
original version. Yeah. But just, with your Power of the Force 2 figures, I mean, I mean, do they mean as much to you now as what your original vintage Kenner figures
the
do?
the Kenner figures will always be the vintage will always be
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
And then that my number two line of collection will be those Power of the Force, because I nearly would have gotten all of them. Not quite, but
Yeah.
it will be my second most complete line. And I carried on. I started to wind down a bit with Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I didn't get all of those. And then Attack of the Clones, it's kind of where I stopped. I bought a couple, but at
Yeah.
that point it was kind of, they're now repeating figures that I'd already got, and they weren't
Yeah.
necessarily better sculpts or anything
Yeah.
of what I had before. And at that point, uh, that would have been, the time I dropped out. It's a time where sort of mortgages, jobs,
Yeah.
um,
Important stuff.
kids coming along.
Yeah.
That it was kind of like, I stopped collecting and really didn't. I'd still pick up
I
the odd bits, but
I
it was a long
I
time
think
before I started again.
I think for me, the Phantom Menace was the sort of like the last kind of line that I stopped there. The last line that I had collected, because
Mm.
but after that, I think the Attack of the Clones card backs, I didn't like them. The
Was
big
that sort of
doubles and the full
pastel
cards.
blue, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought, oh no, this isn't. Yeah, the figures were Star Wars, but the card backs to me will always be the original Kenner card backs.
Yeah,
That is Star Wars to me. I mean, yeah,
totally,
you got the
100%.
Power of the Force 2 cards,
Yeah.
and then you've got the Phantom Menace cards and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's where I kind of knocked it on the head. With just one question before we go, because we're getting to the top of the hour. When you've got your original vintage Kenner figures that you've kept as a childhood, you said that you've been adding little bits to it and stuff like that. When you add the figures or the vehicles to your collection, do they still mean as much to you as your original toys, the ones that you had as a kid? Do you know what I mean? Because I can
I
say
do
I
know what
can
you
look
mean.
at my
Yeah, yeah,
Star Wars figures now and say
yeah.
these are great, fantastic, but they weren't mine as a child. I could look at my Motu figures and think, yeah, fantastic. I bet they mean a lot because they were the ones that I had and actually played with as a kid. So does
Mm.
that, do you get the same sort of like feelings with those, or are you quite
Some
happy
of them
just?
more, actually. So I think so. There are figures. I probably have a stronger connection. Is the Star Wars figures. The Jedi ones, I don't know, maybe less so of a connection, even though they were my figures and I was playing with. Yeah. So
Yeah,
from a couple of my favourite ones from the Jedi line would have been something like the Imperial Gunner,
yeah,
and a Man.
yeah.
Can't wait to see him in live action next year. I mean, that's just awesome.
Mm,
And I was lucky. Well, not lucky. I mean, it was just those were the figures that were out at the time. Yeah, I didn't have no idea that. So I've probably the six figures. I think it's six or seven that I don't have. They're all last 17.
Yeah.
But everything else I've been able to sort of backfill. But
Yeah.
and from a Star Wars perspective, my favorite is R5. Random, he's only on screen for blows up, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
But that was definitely my favorite, and the card back I loved as a kid. But
Yeah.
some of my favorites that I've been able to get that I didn't have, I had Snaggletooth, but that was it. So I have now got Hammerhead, Walrus Man, Power
Greedo.
Droid, Gonk.
Yeah.
Gonk,
Yeah.
oh, I love Gonk. Greedo, didn't have Greedo. So
Yeah.
those are, and now, and the card back, and so I've not only I've bought them a couple of times because I've then, I can't afford to buy mint on card versions, so I
Yeah.
buy reproduction cards with
Yeah.
the plastic bits and put them together.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
recreated the card back. They're mine.
yeah.
I'm never going to sell them, and if I ever did sell them, it would be full disclosure that these
Yeah.
are
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
reproductions. I
Sure.
would never try and flog them as anything else.
Yeah.
That's just not. I don't believe in that at all. That's totally wrong. But yeah, so some of those mean as much because they are
Oh,
so iconic as a toy, but I
yeah.
didn't have them as a
Do you
child.
know what?
But other
I
friends
like
did.
that because I never looked at it like that because I had certain figures as a kid and I started collecting my Star Wars. Well, I didn't collect them, they were bought for me and stuff like that. During the Empire Strikes Back, so I missed out on a lot of the original Star Wars figures, like the original
Mm.
Han, Princess Leia. I mean, I did have them, but I had Princess Leia, Hoth, Han in Bespin and all that sort of stuff. So I missed out on like the Jawa and the Tusken Raider, the four
Yeah, I didn't
Cantina
have those.
Death Star
No,
droids. No, I didn't
I've
have
gone
any of
back
those.
and no.
Yeah, but it's mad now. You saying that, I'm kind of thinking now. Okay, hang on a minute. I never had those as a kid, so I'm really pleased and happy that I've got them in my
Yeah,
collection. So yeah, maybe they do mean a little bit more than
yeah.
what maybe I thought they did. If
Mm.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I remember some of the things that I bought. So when the Power of the Force came out, I didn't have an original TIE fighter. I only
Yeah,
had I'll show you. I had Darth Vader's TIE fighter,
yeah,
which
yeah. Likewise.
which I can. The clips are snapped, obviously, as most people's are, so the wings don't stay
Yeah,
in. So, as a kid, this is my TIE fighter. I didn't have the standard one. So
yeah,
when they released the stuff in the 90s and it was the original mold,
yeah,
I was like, having one of those TIE fighters, I was like, well made up to have one of those because I didn't have it as a child. And that was sort of on my shelf, pride and joy.
yeah.
The what else did I get? The other week I've got just up on the top there's a
That's
TIE
all right.
fighter, it's a TIE interceptor.
Oh,
Now
oh, yeah, yeah.
it's the 30th anniversary version, so it's not a vintage
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
But again, I didn't have an interceptor, so it was kind
yeah,
of so to be able to pick up ships and characters that I didn't
yeah,
have in my original collection, or whether they be vintage or a new representation. Now I get as excited about that and as passionate about that as I do as you know picking up one of the picking up a hammerhead
yeah,
because that was just figures and there are ones I'm down to some of the more expensive figures on the 96. So Ep9, that maybe one day I'll get one of those. But
mm,
I've got the Power of the Force version, which is actually a
yeah,
lot of people say is one of the better representations of her. Um, uh, Luke Stormtrooper,
yeah.
um, the Ewoks. There's a couple of Ewoks I don't have,
Okay.
and I think that's about it really. Weirdly, I've got Simalu. No idea why I got that as a kid. I mean, what as a child, that's the most boring bloody character.
Yeah,
I mean, talk
yeah,
about peg warmer.
yeah.
Well, actually, no, there are two peg
Ghost,
warmers.
all Ghost Anakin. I mean, Ghost Anakin's just the
I've
same,
got
isn't he?
him.
You don't, you know.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, again, it's kind of like, do you want what? I want to buy an old man figure, and nah.
yeah,
But it's like,
yeah,
no, but it's
yeah.
you know, and I Team Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah.
Not
Would
to-
would you would you say that you've got a connection with your toys? A healthy
yes,
connection? Yeah,
yeah. So if you wanted to get really deep and emotional about it, it is, yeah, as I say, I had a good, yeah, my childhood was fine, but it was somewhere I retreated to.
Yeah.
It was somewhere that I would, it was a safe place. It was a safe universe. And it was just something, so psychologically, I mean, we all know now that, clearly, as a collector, we are probably on the spectrum because there is something about wanting to finish. You have a need to collect, to finish, or to complete, to be a completist. That
Yeah.
as an adult, I now understand as an
Yeah.
emotion and as something you do. But yeah, it is a very strong, emotion draw, that for me, in terms of not just being able to capture that feeling of, even as an adult, still being able to go into a, you can't beat going into a shop and buying it. Yes, I know it's all online now, and it's
Yeah.
so much easier.
Yeah.
It's the way of the world. And you still get a buzz. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get the buzz when the boxes come in. I don't know
Yeah.
how you manage to stack up your deliveries. I'm too eager. I'm just like, open them all up and get them out. How you're
Oh,
able to
yeah, God,
patiently sit there and go, no,
yeah.
I'm gonna open them now. I still get the buzz,
Yeah.
uh, of doing it, and but yeah, but then being able to look back on stuff that you had, stuff that you forget. I mean, I even mentioned Action Man. I was huge Action Man stuff. Lego.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, Lego now. I have really got back into, because buying the bigger sets, because the mental benefit of building a Lego set is not to be underestimated. It
It
is
is quite therapeutic, isn't it?
beautifully
Actually.
calming.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
off.
yeah.
I kind of, it's a bit like doing a jigsaw puzzle as well. Actually, jigsaw puzzle. Can I say, I do them with my daughter. She's 17, so she's always right. What's the next big set that we're going to buy? Um, she's done she's done the McLaren Formula One. She's now looking at a Lamborghini, but I've said to her 400 quid is a bit rich for a Lego set.
Yeah.
But she's working on me.
Yeah.
But so yeah, toys are a very safe, comforting place for me.
Would you say that was the case for a lot of people? Because look, listen, we've all had toys. We've all been kids. We've all had toys and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people don't collect toys, and they're probably looking from the outside in and going, bloody nerds, geeks,
Yes,
whatever.
right. Yeah, you
But
said
I mean,
bastards.
surely they must, look in and think, well, hang on a minute, I had this and I had that as well. And it might start bringing back memories for them and stuff like that. I mean, so we've all sort of been there, haven't we?
And yeah, and I think it's become, if you like, the advent of social media, and the online world has meant that, with all the bad things that it can bring, the
Yeah.
good things, equally, it brings the good things together. So you kind of go,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not on my own. Oh, I'm not the only one that does this. In the 90s, I would have hidden the fact that
Yeah.
I bought toys.
Yeah.
Now Sarah and I have been together 30 years,
Wow.
and she knew right from the offset. I would go to Toys R Us and buy a Star Wars figure, so she knew right from the outset that I did it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, I didn't tell people now, but for a
Yeah.
long time it was kind of like, no, this was behind it's my secret addiction. Because people just think, oh, you sad bastard, what are you buying toys for? Now, I mean, a lot of what I do as a job is Teams, video calls,
Yeah.
and they're always, and the whole thing is to have your background, um,
Yeah.
blurred. And my customers are always like, "No, Darren, can you unblur? Because we just want to see what have you got now." Yeah,
Oh,
they're
wow.
really interested to
No, that's
know, and they're
cool.
like, "Oh, what do you do? Yeah, what do and finding you guys, finding Boss, finding only one, finding obviously Shabby,
Yeah. Yeah.
Tez, and the guy, ZSR, USR, Matt. has been fantastic, because again, it just sort of brings you go, oh, you know, we've all got these passions, and I will blame Matt for getting me into hot toys.
Yeah.
Seeing his, and my first one was the Shore Trooper. I've now got quite a few, um, but it, and so yeah, I kind of sort of pick up new bits and pieces, but it's just such
Yeah.
a passion. I don't drink really. I don't smoke.
Yeah.
It's not like I have any other vices. So this is it. This is my vice. This is sort
Yeah.
of saving my money, being able
Cool.
to pick up
Absolutely
toys.
awesome. And it all stems from your childhood toys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And yeah, I just think it's absolutely awesome. And again, I sort of like you, I was very much sort of like reserved when it comes to my collection. I've always
mm,
sort of like collected. This is my third collection now. I'm not going to be getting rid of this or whatever. So I've
and
been
that's I've never
collecting
done
for
that.
12 years.
That is, yeah, that is one thing.
Yeah.
It kind of feels a little bit alien to me, is people that they collect and then sell it and start again, or just to collect something else. But
I think that's more down to
Sarah would love it
circumstance.
if I did that. She would be
Yeah,
very happy if I was one of those, but I'm not.
that was
I
more
just
down to
keep it.
circumstance than anything else. That's why I
Yeah,
kind of sort of like move stuff on. But I'm glad I am where I am now. So like I say, I get to speak to yourself and other people within the community, and
it's brilliant.
I
It's
just
brilliant.
love doing this series and stuff like that, because you get to find out. I mean, yeah, I've done my collecting life and stuff like that, but it's this is about the memories that you get from certain toys and stuff like that. So it's all awesome stuff. Darren, we have come to the top of the hour, my friend. I just want to say a huge thank you for taking part. Really have enjoyed chatting with you and hearing your memories and stuff like that. Where can people find you on social media?
I've got an Instagram. Don't ask me what it is, because I haven't got a clue. It's just my name with the numbers on the end of it, and
Okay.
I'm always loitering around on streams and in the chats, and popping up on things like ZSR and Shabby's channel, if they open up the forums and stuff. So having a
Yeah.
giggle, reminiscing,
Awesome.
talking about everything and anything. So whether it
Yeah.
be reminiscing, which I loved this, because it was, yes, I went back and sort of looked at the usual suspects,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
actually made me think about some of the stuff that I'd forgotten about. I
Yeah. Yeah.
hadn't been talking about. And I said to Sarah about, I'm going to talk about my bike, and I said why. She said, "Oh,
That was
that's a really cool
awesome.
idea."
Absolutely awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
Or the army men. Really
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
thing, but
Again, we all had them
um,
as kids.
yeah,
They just
that's
don't
right.
get spoken about that
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
But
So
no,
no, I
no,
loved
thank you
it,
so
and
much,
I
man.
just love being watching everybody's streams. It's such a fantastic place to be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What I'll do is I will leave your link, your Instagram link in the description below to this video. I just want to say a huge thank you once again, Dan.
That's
Very
been a
much
pleasure.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for
Love
asking
chatting
me
to you.
on.
For those of you who have watched, stayed to the end, listened, thank you so much. It does mean a lot. Take care, stay safe. Oh, this one is the last one for a while. So my childhood toy memories will be back in December. Going to go away for a couple of weeks, so I'm not going to be
Yes.
filming. So, but yeah.
Can I
Anyhow,
give you a shopping list?
you can, yeah. Speak soon. Take care, and see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Cheers, guys.